Hi, good afternoon.
Shirley. Hi, Shirley. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine, thanks. Hey, okay, sorry for the lag. I had problem with the lagging. I did a appointment for my test, so sorry.
Yes. No, it's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. And doesn't matter because it's actually students' days, right? So it's I guess it's part of the um part of the day to give you more tolerance. It's fine. Don't worry, dear Shirley. So yes, I was mentioning. Happy Students' Days, by the way. You know that in
Yeah,
Bolivia, it's a students'
thanks.
right. Students' Days, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So yes,
happy
I
day.
wanted to congratulate you for the Students' Day. I was actually I had prepared here something, but it was, I'm not sure where it is. It's here. Here you are. Happy Students' Day. I had prepared that gift. Happy Students' Days. Okay, very good. So I guess I asked you this yesterday, I guess, but um there is no Students' Day in the US, right? Or at least not in the student day for the US particularly, but there is a World Students' Day, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, we don't have one. I don't know. See, that's specific another day or another. Yeah, that's correct. Another day, but
Mhm.
in the day here, I don't see the for student day.
All right. Yeah, certainly. I mean, I guess it's like as I say, there is a particular day probably um, for the World Students Days, but nonetheless, it's not um, 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 how's this called? But there's no like a national day
Mm.
for the Students' Day in America, but nonetheless, there is a World Date that they also celebrate. I guess because when I was looking for this GIF, I saw that there were a lot of images or GIFs that were created for the World Students' Day, which means, as far as I know, that of course there is a celebration in the entire world. Oh, doesn't matter. Anyways, right? Um, Here it is the students, excuse me, the Students' Day, and therefore I just wanted to congratulate you. All right, fantastic. So let us move on then, and continue with the class so that we can match everything. Where's this? Where's this? Where's this? Here. Oh, by the way, did you talk to Ruth? I mean, she talked to me. She said that she talked with you. Did she say something to you?
Yeah, the problem I don't know was this specific problem for that. She need the
Mm,
qualification today or yeah, that's today in 12.
mhm.
So I don't have the specific conclusion for that. I don't did the all the homework and probably I can take only the test today.
Yes.
She didn't that I had the extension for this not this the before model, but the assignment I had the Friday I go because that is 16, 16, yeah.
Mhm. Yes. Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, I mean, as I told you, it's like I think what she was asking you is that last time when you remember when we talked about the homework and also the exams last week, and I asked you, right? Do you think that you're going to be able to finish the homework and the exams until this Friday? And you said no because of the university, right? And I said, don't worry, I'm gonna give you more time until this Tuesday, right? That was yesterday. But yesterday we also talked, and you told me that you were sick. So of course, because you are sick, I told you, well, I mean, we can consider to give you even a little bit more of time because you are sick. And of course, when you are sick, it's very difficult to do homework. I comprehend that. So that is what I told to Ruth. And I think she understood it like if we had postponed the time for our or for your homework or for your assignments 2 times, and theoretically we did it because if you think about it, the first time we did it was last week, when I told you, please have time until this Tuesday. And yesterday we also did it, right? Because I told you, but now please have time a little bit more until I don't know, until whenever you feel better, complete the homework. But it was because Ruth had not told me before that the maximum time you have for presenting your homework, if we are going to expand the time, is just 1 week. I didn't know that because she never told me. That you just have 1 more week, let's say, in order for you to present it. She just told me now. I think that was the reason why I told you, well, you can actually have more time because you are sick. Because if I had known, well, that you had just have 1 week, maybe I would have told you something else. I mean, maybe I would have told you, well, maybe I'm going to unassign many of these homeworks so that you just complete some of them and not all the homework that you were supposed to complete, something like that. But sadly, as I said, like Ruth didn't tell me that. But now, don't worry, because I have talked to her, and she decided that you are actually able to complete the homework until this Thursday. So you have time until this Thursday to complete the entire homework and also the exam. Okay, so don't worry about it. But please try to complete it until this Thursday. Okay, just so that we can avoid any other problem with Ruth until this Thursday. Okay.
Okay, so I had time for the tomorrow or Friday.
No, until Thursday, until tomorrow, because what she told me is that the last day we're gonna have in order to upload the grades is gonna be just until Friday, and that must be early. So last time is gonna be until tomorrow. And as I say, like, this is the last time you're gonna make this homework, because for this unit, I'm not gonna give you actually very much homework. The homeworks I'm gonna give you are going to be super short. This is the last time you're gonna have to do the overwhelming quantity of homeworks that you have in the platform. Okay, so please try to complete it. I mean, try to complete it, please. Okay, it's just the last homework you're gonna make of that sort, and that is all. We're not going to be entering the platform again. All right.
Okay, so I had time for tomorrow until tomorrow.
Yes, until tomorrow.
Yes,
Like
correct.
yes, exactly. Until midnight. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You can complete it until tomorrow. Okay.
Okay. I got it.
Okay,
I
fantastic.
try.
Thank you very much. Yes,
No
yes.
problem.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, I would have loved to give you more time, but they are very much they are putting a lot of pressure now because they want to have the grades. I don't know why. I mean, they are so much eager to have the grades, but I guess it's because they have their system or something, and they need to. And I need to, of course, to send them the grades. Okay, fantastic. So thank you very much. Okay. Good. So now that we have solved that, let us get into our topic for today's class. And that topic is, as I told you in advance yesterday, how to use periods. All right, periods or points, however you want to name them, because points is actually also accurate when you say it in Spanish. It's not actually necessary to always say it's periods, because maybe some professors, when I was learning English, they were super, let's say, they were super strict when you wanted to say point in English, punto, and whenever you were referring to grammar points, they always wanted you to say period. But yes, I mean, the correct term is period, but you can also use points. It's not like a thing or something. It's actually possible. I've heard so many Americans saying point instead of period. All right, but we're gonna learn how to use this, okay? So let us open our document. And there are just 4 rules actually for the use of periods. And that is ironic, right? Because I told you yesterday that in English you're going to use more periods than commas, and that is still true. Nonetheless, as periods are way more limited in their use and function, there are less rules for periods than commas. And well, that is understandable and expectable, because as I told you yesterday, it's actually more difficult and complicated to use commas. And that is, I guess, something that makes Spanish very difficult, because in Spanish, it's super common to write long sentences. But in English, people prefer to use, as I say, periods or points. And what that provokes, or what the result of that action is is that English is easier to write because you just have to concentrate in fulfilling 4 rules in order for you to use periods correctly. And if you fulfill these 4 rules correctly, then you're done. You can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, let me. All right, fantastic. So let us discuss this here as well. Okay, no, but this is not. Here it is. Okay, so how to use periods. Let's go with a little preface and also with the okay, there you are. So let me here include a title that for this document is going to be periods. All right. So periods are punctuation marks used to separate sentences or elements of reference lists. Where's this? Where's this? Here. So let us pay attention very carefully to the here presented definition. It says that periods are punctuation marks used to separate sentences or elements of reference lists. So here, basically, it's telling you that whenever you're using a period, you are separating. You're separating whether sentences or, on the other hand, elements of reference lists. And we're going to be looking at that particular function. And we're going to discover that, as I say, periods always have that particular mission to separate, okay, to separate things. It can be sentences, or it also could be elements of reference lists, okay? So it's very important for you to know that the basic task and, let's say, mission of a period is to separate, okay? It's very much separatist. And, okay, that is, I think that's the best definition I can give you. So now, here. So here we're going to have some instances and rules in order to follow the correct grammar use of periods and points. Let's go with the first one. It says the first rule, okay, or the first case in which you're going to use a period is going to be this one, to end a complete sentence. And this is actually the most natural and known, let's say, use and objective of a period. Know that you should use only one space between sentence after a period or other ending punctuation. For example, look at this sentence here. Johnson claimed, I'm gonna erase this as it's not necessary. Johnson claimed that he had cured cancer. Look at it. Johnson claimed that he had cured cancer. As you can see, this is a complete sentence. And I would say that by a complete sentence, they mean an independent sentence. And I know that this is something that is very fresh in your mind. But by a complete sentence, they mean a independent sentence. That is to say, a sentence that we can understand very easily and by itself. We don't need any other type of sentence or, let's say, pronoun or clause in order to understand the sentence, because in that case, the sentence would be incomplete, and therefore it would be, as we have been learning about these last classes, that will be a dependent class, right? Those that are not understandable by themselves. But this one, an independent sentence, whenever you write an independent sentence and whenever you have finished, right, a sentence, what you have to do is, as I told you, to finish this sentence with a period, all right? And that is, I would say, the most natural and common use of a period, right? Whenever you complete a sentence, an independent sentence, always use a period, as I mentioned, at the end of the sentence, okay? So for example, let's say I have here an illustration like this one. So if I say, right, Shirley is my student. So look at it. Shirley is my student. This is an independent sentence or not? It is, right? Because it's a complete sentence. I don't need anything else to understand it. I just, in this case, expressing the fact that you are my student. Shirley is my student. So as you can see here, I am closing the sentence, the independent sentence, with a period. Shirley, excuse me, is my student. All right. Whenever you have an independent sentence, you can, okay, you can finish it with a period. Now, notice that here you have a very important distinction to make. Okay, listen to what I say. To end a complete sentence, this is a case in which you can, let's say, use a period. But now notice that not every single time you are, let's say, obligated to finish an independent sentence with a period. That is very important, dear Shirley, because you are not obligated to always end independent sentences with a period. because you can actually, as we have seen in the last and previous classes, you can actually use comma and say, for example, she is my student, and she is also I don't know, health how is this called, health specialist, let's say. She is my student and she is also a health specialist. As you can see in this sentence, although I have here an independent sentence, I'm not closing the sentence with a period. And why? Because I decided that I wanted to, of course, add another independent sentence with, as we saw yesterday, with a connector. So as I mentioned, whenever you have a lonely independent sentence that you want to end, it's necessary for you to use the period. So to end a complete sentence, when you do not want to include any other sentence to it, transform it. When you do not want to transform it into a complex sentence. There you go. So to end a complete sentence, when you do not want to transform it into a complex sentence, because as I was mentioning initially, for example, this is an independent sentence, right? And here, of course, I am using a period in order to end the sentence. But that is because this is all I'm writing. Now, if I would like, for example, to make this independent sentence a complex sentence, that is to say the union of different sentences, of course, I'm not going to end it with period, right? I'm going to write, she is my student and she also plays soccer, right? This is a complex sentence. So whenever I am constructing a complex sentence, of course, I'm not going to use period. Just whenever I want to have this independent sentence as a simple sentence, right? Independent sentence, and that's it. Not a complex independent sentence. Is that understandable, Shirley?
Yeah, don't need the connector.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for example, she is my student. She's also a specialist. She plays the guitar. She sings very well. She knows how to play Monopoly. Look at all the sentences. These are independent sentences, right? Every single one of the sentences I wrote here are independent sentences. Look at it. Shirley is my student. It's an independent sentence, period. She's also a specialist, period. She plays the guitar, period. Here, she sings very well. She knows how to play Monopoly. As you can see, all of these sentences are independent sentences. And whenever I finish them, because I'm not uniting them with any other sentence, I'm not creating complex sentences here because I am simply letting this sentence to be alone, right? Le estoy dejando que esté sola la sentencia. I'm not uniting it. I'm not unifying this sentence with another one. That's the reason why I always using period, all right? For example, I could combine the sentence of course, and that would be a complex sentence. And if I were creating a complex sentence, then I wouldn't use a period, right? She plays the guitar, the cello, and piano. She plays the guitar, cello, and piano. Cello without the H. So yeah, as I mentioned, whenever you have the independent sentence by itself, you don't need the period, okay? Is this understandable, Shirley? Any question here about how to use this period?
No, I don't have question. That's okay.
Okay, fantastic. So this is the first rule. Okay, and this is the most natural and useful, okay? So always remind, whenever you want to end a complete sentence, an independent sentence, I mean, when you do not want to transform it into a complex sentence, you use a period, okay? Here. You use period to end a complete sentence when you do not want to transform it into a complex sentence. Note that you should use only one space between sentences after a period or other ending punctuation. What it means is like, for example, look at this sentence, Shirley. It's finishing in this period, right? And as you can see, between this period and the beginning of my new sentence, in this case, she is also a specialist. As you can see, there's a space, right? There's a space. I'm not writing, for example, United. Okay, so that is exactly the same in Spanish, right? So that's the reason maybe I'm not clarifying this, but that remains, okay? It's very important for you to know that that remains. It is still applicable to English, okay? Fantastic.
Okay, and that's a sentence in the middle sentence. Do you need the accent for before the aim?
The shell. Oh, yes. You need. I'm sorry. You're right, but very good. Fantastic. You have noticed. You remember what we saw yesterday. Yes,
Yeah.
she plays the guitar, the cello, and piano. Yes, because whenever you are using more than two, right? More than two items, then you need a comma. Yes, exactly. Very good. I could say, right? I did it on purpose, but it's not true. Actually, I forgot it. Very good. Very good. I like that you are seeing it. So there you are. Let's go to the second rule. Okay. Okay, and this is actually very similar to the first one, but let's say there's a little difference. And here I want to explain something. Okay, here. Okay, second rule. To end a sentence that includes a citation or a quotation, note that the placement of the period in the following instances. Where's this? Is within the quotation commas. Okay, I'm gonna explain this. You remind you that when we discussed the topic of quotations, we talked about how to quote things, right? It was a very interesting topic some classes ago. I taught you that whenever you want to quote somebody, what you have to do is, let's say, Boomer and Watts insisted that. And here, for example, they are not doing it correctly because it's that, comma, and then you start, right? There was little that could save NATO in its current state. And here, period. So, for example, look at this sentence, our quotation. This is our quotation, right? And how do we identify a quotation? Because it is within quotation commas, right? As we have discussed in the previous classes. But now, when you end a quotation, and now you are going to start a new sentence, maybe you are wondering, where should I include my period in order to end this quotation? And the period you're going to use in order to end your quotation is going to be within the quotation commas. I tell you this, and it's very important because in Spanish it's different. In Spanish, you use it here. But in English, when you're making a quotation, you include the period in order to of course, to signify it and to indicate that you're ending with the independent sentence or with the quotation sentence within the quotation commas. You don't do it out, all right, of the quotation commas. You always do it inside, all right? It's very important. So remember, whenever you're quoting and you are finalizing your quotation and you want to start later a new idea, for example, this goes to show, right? And you could continue, right? Whenever you want to finalize your quotation, remember, period within the quotation commas. Let me give an example. If I say, as Renee Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. Look at it. This phrase let's say shaped the war for many centuries. And now look at it. This is an example. As Rene Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. I'm quoting here, right? Rene Descartes, I think, therefore I am. And look at the fact that my period, all right, in order to signify and to point out to the fact that I am finalizing, ending with my quotation sentence is within the quotation commas, not out, okay? So it's very important. Whenever you want to finish your quotation sentence, include the period within the quotation commas, okay? And then you can continue with another sentence, of course, if it is going to be a new sentence, respecting the capital letter, right? I think you know that. I didn't include it here. After you use a period, the next sentence must always go, or must always start with capital letters. There you are. This is what I mean. If you look at the quotation sentences, whenever you're going to continue with, of course, the sentence, in this case, a different sentence, you have to always start after a period with a capital letter. You know that, right, Shirley? Or maybe I could clarify here.
I had a question for that.
Yeah, tell me.
I don't remember exactly when in Spanish or we can use the comma before the quotation, but we can do. Can we use the 2 point? Say 2 point, or
Yes.
always is the comma?
Okay. So yes, I mean, in Spanish, I know that maybe some people would say, okay, semicolon. What do you mean it's colon, right? 2 points. I know what you mean. It's this symbol, right? This one.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, in Spanish, I'm not sure because maybe the way people use the symbol is incorrect, because as far as I know, this rule still applies to Spanish. But let's say, as for Spanish is different, but for English, it's incorrect to do this. Okay, this is not correct.
Okay.
You always have to include a comma in order to start a quotation. Okay, not 2 points or colon. Okay.
Okay.
Always a comma. The starter set comma and then you quote. I think, therefore I am. If you want to finalize the sentence, you use a period and you continue. As I was mentioning here, every single sentence, okay, every single sentence that goes after a period starts with a capital letter. Look at it.
Yeah.
Capital letter, capital letter, capital letter, right? So this is always a constant. For example, this one, the institute, right? Capital letter. Why? Because it's right after a period. Okay, is that clear there, Shirley?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's go with the third rule. Okay, to end a block quotation before the citation or the placement of the period in the following example. What is this? Okay, the third one is not actually, I would say it's not actually used nowadays. So let us just not discuss it, because a block quotation basically means whenever you are quoting a lot of material, and that is exactly the same. For example, imagine that you are probably in scientific papers. You don't quote people very much shortly, right? You quote long sentences, long material. For example, you go to, I don't know, let's say Wikipedia, and you look for what is tuberculosis, right? For example, imagine that you are writing your paper when you are in your scientific article, and you want to quote, let's say, a book or something you have read. Probably, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, in scientific papers, you quote long material, right? Because you are interested in a lot of things that the author is saying. Rather, of course, when you are quoting somebody in a normal paper, a normal essay that is not scientific, you don't quote a lot of words. You just quote a very tiny and small phrase. But in scientific papers, that is not the case. You actually quote a lot of things. For example, let's say you want to quote this, the rule would still apply. Okay, that is all I wanted to say. But the third rule says that whenever you are, the third rule says that, where is it here? If you are quoting long sentences in your citation, you will still need to include your how's this called, your period at the end. Okay, for example, let's say, as my scientist friend remarked, comma, quotation, and you paste, right? Look at it. Oh, come on, what is it? Look at it. Long quotation, long quotation. So imagine that you quote something like this, super long. This is super, all of this is my quotation that I pasted from Wikipedia, right? So imagine that you want to paste a material as long as this particular one. It doesn't matter. You go at the end of the quotation, and anyways, you finish with a period and you close the quotation comma. Okay, it's not different. The rule still applies. It still applies. Yes. Is there any question about this one?
No, that's okay.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to take this out because it's gonna be too long. Like I'm gonna say here, long sentence. All right, there you are. Fantastic. And finally, the last rule. I think this one is actually important. When do you use period as a last case? You use it. Look at it. Number 4. Between elements of reference list entries. This is mostly for the APA rules. Do you know the APA rules, Shirley?
Yeah.
Yes,
For the
I think that,
reference. Yeah.
yes, certainly. Like everybody in the university always knows about it, right? It's something very common. Professors always ask for this. So maybe you are aware of this already, but let's say whenever you are, as you said, citing the bibliography of your paper, of course, you just go about respecting the rules that APA has, let's say, established. And those rules is, postulate that whenever you are quoting a name, a year, or every single thing in the quotation of the reference, you always have to use a point, right? I think that you already know this if you have seen the APAs. Point is means, let's say you write the author, right? Period. You write the year, period. You write the name of the book, period. And then finally, maybe you add, I think, the collaborator of the book, period. Everything is separated by periods. And if you think about it, that respects the first definition we gave to periods. What does periods do? They separate. Okay, it doesn't matter what they separate. They separate sentences, they separate elements, they separate items. But the only thing that periods do, if you think about them as a whole, is to separate things. Okay, they are very much separative. Okay, but that's the idea. You have any question about the last use, Shirley? The last rule?
Yeah, that's okay. This is similar for the Spanish in the reference.
Yes, exactly. Very similar. It's actually the same rule. And as I say, it still applies. Here you are, yellow, and this one with yellow as well. There you are. Fantastic. Okay, so this is it. For example, last thing that I wanted to mention here is that, let's say you are, how often should you use periods? I'm gonna write here a very short commentary. When you are writing in English, it's preferable to use short sentences, writing short sentences ending with period. Do not get tempted to write long sentences as we do in Spanish. Short sentences are simpler and preferable in English, okay? Maybe this is something that I told you before, but I wanted to remark it here. I think it's very important. In English, because from tomorrow on, or maybe since this Friday, we're going to start writing, okay? We're going to start to write things. And something that I want to always emphasize with you is that whenever you're writing for the exam, for the TOEFL exam in English, or for any other scientific paper, we're going to notice that Americans and people who are English speakers overall, they prefer to use short sentences. And they always separate, of course, they mark those short sentences with, as I mentioned, period. Please, nonetheless, don't misunderstand me. Of course, you can write down long sentences, sometimes complex sentences. As I told you, they are very much fruitful and they're very much rich to your grammar and orthography. Nonetheless, let's say in a summary or in a complete spectrum or panorama, always prefer to use short sentences, okay? not filling the entire document with very long sentences, but having more short sentences than long sentences, okay? And whenever you are using short sentences instead of long sentences, of course, you have to use, as I said, periods, okay? To separate them and to mark the end and also the beginning of independent sentences. All right, is this clear, usually?
Yes, that's okay.
Fantastic. There you are. So tomorrow we're going to practice both commas and also periods, all right? With our quizzes before we move on to the next topic. But as I told you, this is going to be all for today's class. But nonetheless, I think that we have advanced very much until this point. Tomorrow we're going to start with the essays themselves, probably. If not, we're going to continue with maybe one more grammar tip before we start, because this is actually all you needed to know. Maybe the last thing is going to be connectors or something like that, but periods and commas, we have already seen them. All right? Do you have
Okay.
another question?
No, I don't have question.
Fantastic. So let's save this document. It's going to be called September 21st. 21st, like that. Download. Yeah, here. What? All right. There you are. September 21st. So as I mentioned, it's like better to have this on mind so that we can also tomorrow write our essays way better. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to take your assistance. Okay, so please help me, dear Sheila, with the traditional poll that we always fill. Actually, today is Wednesday, so sadly, 2 polls, as you know.
Yeah.
Yes, but nonetheless, well, it's just one day. What is this? What is this? What is this?
Okay, it disappears.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. There you have first one. And now please help me with the second one. I listen that your throat is a little bit dry. Are you having some problems with your throat?
Yeah, so more or less.
More or less? Yes. Barely, because anyways, you can talk, right? And I guess that is what matters. But if you still have some, I don't know, throat ache or something,
Okay.
I understand you. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Shirley. All right. So I see you tomorrow. I hope that you are better of your disease right now. Anything that you maybe, I don't know, thinking about, or any question or any new about your health, please let me know. All right, dear Shirley?
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night and see you tomorrow.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.